Hello, thanks for joining me for your June monthly horoscope for the Sun or the Ascendant. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. Every time I drop a video, you'll get an alert. Also, if you'd like to ascend above your zodiac sign forecast and embrace more serious astrology, check out my very special offer. A character analysis and a 12-month forecast, 30% off, will give you searing insights into your future prospects and also help you to understand what makes you tick at a deeper level. This is based on your time, date and place of birth and is totally unique to you. No two charts are the same. Please see the link below for more. Hello Virgo and welcome to your in-depth horoscope forecast for June. This month begins with the Sun, Mercury, your ruler, Venus and also the North Node in the most visible part of your situation. This is known as the 10th house. This is where we link with the world at large. This is how people understand our talents. It's where we find a platform to shine. It can also be our relationship with our elders, and if we're in a position of authority with those who report to us, whether it's the kids or someone at work. So the 10th house is very much about goals and ambitions. It's kind of Capricornian. But of course, Mercury, the planet of communication and your ruler, is in retrograde as this month begins and will stay so through to the 22nd. And it doesn't come out of shadow until the 26th. So there's going to be the potential for some fluidity in terms of how you connect to the world at large. If you're not particularly happy with your work, that's obviously a clue. It's possible that if you are happy with your work, that something about your work could be changing and you might have to flex and deal with that. But you also have Venus in this location at the start of the month. And if you have been making a good impression on certain decision makers over the last few weeks, once Venus moves on the 2nd into your sector of friendship, that can be a real asset to you in the weeks ahead. However, your ruler is compromised by Neptune in the first week. So around a business relationship, keep communication very clear. So even if you feel that you've explained something to someone in a position who can influence your status, your future, confirm it with an email. Make sure that you back things up. Don't just assume that someone has got the same understanding of a conversation as you. You know, even if you're talking about a family get-together, it's not a bad thing just to drop a confirming text message afterwards, because the potential for people to get the wrong end of the stick is actually rather strong this month. Because of that retrograde to Mercury, Jupiter goes into a retrograde, Saturn's in retrograde, Pluto's in retrograde, Neptune goes into retrograde on the 26th. So we're very much into retrograde season. But of course, Mercury is the biggie when it comes to communication. Your natural precision will help you to overcome the difficulties of Mercury retrograde. But because Neptune distorts and it's in your sector of relating, just be aware that it can impact what seems like an innocent conversation. Someone can think that you've meant completely different to what you're really saying. So seek to seize the moment. And because Venus moves into your sector of friendship, then the more obliging you can be, the better it can be for you. Now, also in the first week of this new month, the Sun in this sector of success is linking very helpfully to Saturn. Saturn, obviously the bad boy of the Zodiac, but for you it's in your 6th house at the moment. So that's just accentuating natural gifts you have of discrimination, of attention to detail, of making sure that you provide services effectively to others, you fulfill your job efficiently, you make sure your home life is well modulated and organised. All these things come very easily to you. So at work, someone could, as long as your message is clear, be very impressed by how you've got it all together in your approach. And they could also start to like you a lot more too, because Venus forges an awesome link to Jupiter, which has recently moved into your opposite sign, which is fabulous for you. It's going to be there through to the 28th of July. Venus is the planet of luck. If you're looking for a relationship, it really helps. I can't promise you're going to meet someone, but it really helps. And Jupiter and Venus are obviously a feel-good connection when they're in a trine like this. So if you're looking to add to your brood, for example, this is a time when conception could be a little easier. They're very, very good for that, Jupiter and Venus, when they're in positive alliances. But Venus for you is in your sector of friendship and Jupiter in your sector of relating. So a new friend could come in at the start of this month who you really like. But Mars does continue for the first 10 days in the sign of Cancer, which is also about friendship for you. Mars is much more democratic in the 11th house. It's not so keen in the sign of Cancer, but it is what it is. So for you, this helps you to collaborate with others and not be so caught up in what you need to get for yourself. Now, again, this is something that you have a natural gift for. You understand about helping others. But Mars is in an opposition with Pluto those first 10 days. And if there is somebody who does come up on your astral radar that you really fancy, the lovely thing about Mars being in opposition to Pluto is that even if you're someone who tends to run a little on the shy side, this could push you out of your comfort zone and see you reveal your hand, even if it feels a little bit scary. But honestly and seriously, Mars opposite Pluto is really going to embolden you. It can embolden you in social situations as well. So if you feel you have been, struggling with the lockdown a little bit and there are opportunities to meet up, greet, mix and mingle, seize them. This aspect can give you more drive. The downside of Mars opposite Pluto, a lot of people who end up on the wrong side of the law have difficult Mars-Pluto angles. Mars is about impulse, Pluto is about power, but it also can be about the dark side. If in a romantic relationship you're already in one, or you're in a friendship and someone frustrates you, there could be a tendency to sort of ride roughshod over their feelings, but it's a choice. And then on the 10th, we have a solar eclipse. It's an annular solar eclipse in the sign of Gemini, and it's squaring up with Neptune, so it's repeating the square that happened with Mercury, your ruler, in the first week. But this is going to provide a backdrop for the next 6 months. So what it's saying to you is aim high, reach for the stars, have a very clear idea of what your goals are, but don't let relationships dilute your attention too much. There could be someone that you're having to support quite a bit who doesn't perhaps get your global hopes. They don't really tune into your ambitions in the same way. Every relationship is about give and take, but if this was a severe case of someone holding you back from reaching your true potential, you might have to think about it again. On the other hand, maybe you just have to be very diplomatic and kind of keep them in the loop and bring them along. But if you really want to go for it, this solar eclipse gives you a great opportunity to skyrocket forwards in the second half of 2021. What's not to like? Well, on the 11th, Mars does arrive in your 12th house. A bit inopportune, if I can be so honest, because Mars in the 12th house for the following 6 weeks can drag up to the surface things that you have felt that you've dealt with. So that can be past upsets, traumas, angers, accidents you may have had, working with difficult line managers. All this kind of stuff can very surprisingly be released from our subconscious. Mars can be about anger. So in the 12th house, which is about the past and the subconscious, suddenly the two conduct. And all sorts of, where did that come from? Funnily enough, this will make you laugh. I was driving along with Elisa about 4 or 5 weeks ago in the car, and we'd been to view a property, and we couldn't find anyone. It was proving quite stressful. And suddenly I turned to her and said, do you know, I could absolutely kill a fag. Now, I haven't smoked for like 30 years, so where that came from, I don't know, but it came up. And that just shows how we do hold things in our body. It's It's a gestalt. It's a fascinating concept. But if there is any outstanding stuff, you might have to sift through it over the next 6 weeks. Just saying. Now on the 14th, Saturn, helping you to be very disciplined in the 6th house of your situation, comes to an exact point of conflict with Uranus in the part of your scope saying, do what you want, don't be so conscientious, you've got to be more free-spirited. And this has become more and more of a trend for Virgo people, pretty well since May 2018 onwards, came back with passion for early born Virgo people around about March the 7th, 2019. So if your birthday's early in Virgo, I think the push to shake your life up and do something more radical and be more spontaneous has probably been quite strong. Now, if that has been a pattern that's been playing out for you all year, and you do feel frustrated by a dull job, you don't feel very satisfied, you don't feel very appreciated, either by the customer or your boss or your line manager, then the resentment around all of that could reach a peak in the middle of this month, particularly with that Mars position in the 12th house. So just be conscious of that. Keep working on how you can create more space and freedom for yourself while feeling that you're not completely ratting on your responsibilities. It's about trying to find some kind of adjustment which allows for you to flow better. Now on the 20th, the Sun moves into the sign of Cancer, which for you is lovely. This is the sector of friendship. It joins with Venus, but it also forges a beautiful enabling 120-degree angle to Jupiter. Now, the ironic thing is Jupiter goes retrograde on the 20th, but that angle to the Sun, one of the luckiest in astrology, lasts through to the 26th. So if you're wanting to expand, you're wanting to spend time with a new friend, a new group of people that you really feel comfortable with, there can be a really happy vibe that flows through, which you can really appreciate. Jupiter goes retrograde 4 months every single year. It does slow down the economy very often, but especially when it goes through the sign of Capricorn, because it's in fall. And so don't necessarily think that everything is going to be bleak in terms of resources, because Neptune also goes retrograde on the 25th, and both of them are for you. They're both the co-rulers of Pisces. They're both in your sector of relationships. So I just think your relationship sector is going to demand more attention from you, put it that way, in the months to come. But on the 22nd, your ruler Mercury goes forwards. Great. So when it comes to job applications, interviews, presentations, having a clarity in terms of the line management within the company or business or organisation, or the applications that you're putting in if you're looking for a job, things will get a bit clearer, but it will get much better from the 26th once Mercury comes out of shadow. But on the 24th, you've got a time management challenge here, Virgo. Now, we all know that you're probably the most organised member of the Zodiac, broadly. Of course, other varieties of Virgo may be out there. But this full moon is actually in the sign of Capricorn, so the moon's in its detriment. It doesn't like being in Capricorn because it's the opposite of where it is ruled, which of course is Cancer. So it could be a little bit of a difficult one in some ways, but it is, the moon itself is supported by Jupiter in a sextile, and the Sun with a trine to Jupiter. I think generally this is just saying to you, you can't please all of the people all of the time. And maybe Mars being in the 12th house is making you a bit edgier and tempted to be a bit more ruthless with the situations that aren't working for you. You know, you do see occasionally, don't you, on Facebook, people saying, look, please don't be offended, but I've just cut out everybody on my Facebook page that I don't regularly talk to. And you know, you've got to have respect for that in a way. You know, the way Facebook used to be, where everyone wanted to be your friend, I think we've all gone beyond that a little bit. We know that Facebook can provide challenges in terms of, you know, our data, you know, our profiles, you know, being bombarded with adverts, not necessarily being able to reach the people we want to reach. It's not the panacea it used to be. So maybe there is some sort of more peripheral friends that you do feel snag your attention a bit. It's not that you don't like them, they're just not your actual besties. So maybe this full moon is asking you to focus on your besties. If you're in a relationship but you're a very friend-orientated person, it's a reminder not to forget the needs of your partner. If you're in a group of people but you don't really fulfilled, then obviously this full moon is saying to you, look, create some time for yourself, your own individual needs and creativity. And if you want it, to perhaps get to know someone individually. There is in week 3 an absolutely cracking link between Venus and Pluto. This is one of those aspects that can throw in some challenges, because Venus is about relating and it's about, sensuality. In the sign of Cancer, it's friendship for you, but it's also quite kindly. And Pluto in Capricorn is quite ruthless. So Pluto, whether it's money or sex, Pluto is about desire, and Venus is about how we have all those fabrications around how we disguise our moods, whether it's good manners or charm or flattery, all those things that can come into play when we're trying to woo. Just be aware that there's an opportunity for someone new and exciting to enter your world, or someone to try and sell you something, or gain your investment on something that might not be all that they say it is, but that's up to you, who's the most shrewd at defining the details of things in the zodiac. It's up to you to nail it. But from the 26th to the 30th, Mars is in an opposition with Saturn. And if anything is stressing you out at all, I do feel that could be a time when you just need to pamper yourself. Take some long hot baths, put some essential oils in, or some Epsom salts, light a couple of scented candles, turn the lights off, put some soft, beautiful music on, and just have a real good relax. Because I think things could get a bit edgy between the 26th and the 30th. But with the sun broadly really helpful and supportive from the 20th, along with Venus, there can be lots of opportunities to be more interactive and playful. But as I said before, maybe you need to manage your schedule a little bit more, otherwise you can just feel really spread thin, and that's where that exhaustion could come in with that opposition between Mars and Saturn. And finally, triumphantly to end the month, Mercury, your ruler, comes out of shadow on the 26th. So just to recap, this month begins with a big opportunity, particularly with that solar eclipse, to reach for the stars when it comes to your goals and ambitions. Neptune is just saying that your relationship with others can distort or heighten your joy this month. It just depends on how you manage the process. And then later in the month, it becomes much more about friendship, sociability, and planning your longer term future.